Hi fellas, this is Hypodermis from first year MBBS videos, and in this video we'll be talking about the skin. Over here on your left is an explanatory picture of the skin, whereas on your right is a slice of a skin that is viewed under the light of a microscope. Now, if you look at this very picture, you can clearly see that it has got three layers. The one layer is the epidermis, which you can see over here. This very layer is the epidermis of the skin. Then you have got the dermis, this layer lying all the way from here to this very layer. This is called as the dermis, whereas the layer below the dermis, this layer is called as the hypodermis or the subcutaneous tissue. So you have got the dermis in the middle, and then you have got the epidermis above the dermis and the hypodermis or the subcutaneous tissue below the dermis. Over here in the microscopic view, you can see, if I zoom it a little bit, you can see that this very layer above all the other layers, this layer is called as the epidermis. Then you have got this very big dermis, and finally the layer below, which is the subcutaneous layer. Now in this video we will talk our discussion going from the bottom layer to the top layer. So we will be first talking about the subcutaneous tissue, then in the dermis and the epidermis. However, this video is mainly about the hypodermis of the skin. We will talk about the dermis and the epidermis in separate videos. So let's have a talk about the hypodermis of the skin. The hypodermis is also called as the subcutaneous tissue or the superficial fascia. It's called the hypodermis because it lies below the dermis. It's called the subcutaneous because it lies below the skin. The cutaneous, wherever there is some word cutaneous, then this word is related to the skin. So since it is below the skin, mainly the upper two layers, the dermis and the epidermis, they constitute the skin. Therefore, this very layer, this connective tissue layer, lies below the skin, hence it is called as the subcutaneous tissue or subcutaneous layer, or it's also called as superficial fascia. Now, what does this layer contain? This layer mainly contains adipose tissue. Now, adipose tissues are the tissues which are composed of adipocytes. Adipocytes are normal connective tissue cells, but with the passage of time, they are filled in with the triglyceride. As a result, and triglycerides are the fats molecules. So as a result, they start swell up. They become the cells swell up, and they push, and these fats and these triglycerides push the cell constituent, that is the cytoplasm and the nucleus, to the periphery. So if you are looking at this layer under the light of the microscope, you will see large spherical cells with their nuclei pushed to the periphery of the cell. Moreover, these cells also contain blood vessels, which you can see over here. These are the blood vessels that are present in this layer, and because it has to give the vessel to drain the upper two layers. Now, this layer anchors the skin to the underlying tissues. You can see over here. Now, one thing you have got to remember, that this layer is a connective tissue. Now, what does a connective tissue does? Connective tissue binds, or it connects the various structures. So since adipose tissue is a type of the connective tissue, therefore it connects the skin above with the below structures, and it anchors the skin. Moreover, it also acts as a shock absorber, and since it has a lot of fats, triglycerides in it, therefore it also acts as energy storage place. Moreover, it also keep us warm by preventing the heat loss, because the heat is generated on the inside of the body, and the fat acts as a heat insulator, so it doesn't just let pass the heat from the inner body, and thus keep us warm. So we are done here with the hypodermis. Now if we move just above the hypodermis, lying over here is the junction of the hypodermis and the dermis, which is called as the hypodermal-dermal junction. Now this junction, which lies over here, it connects the hypodermis with the dermis. And how does it connect it? There are connective tissue fibers which runs all the way down from here from the hypodermis to the dermis of the skin. Now these fibers move from down to the top. So these fibers, the connective tissue fibers, makes this junction, and this junction is responsible for the mobility of the skin. The amount of the mobility of the skin above depends on how much tense this connection is. Say for example, if you have very strong fibers, messy fibers, the fibers that form a very strong network, as a result the skin won't be able to move on the underlying structures, such as the skin on your palms of the hand and the soles of your feet. If you want to move it, it doesn't move that much easily. But at the other parts of the body, your hair isn't that tight connection, it's a loose type of connection. As a result, you can move your skin on your underlying structures. Say for example, at the opposite side of the palm, you can just peel the skin, and this is due to the loose connection of the fibers between these two tissues. So here we are done with the hypodermis. Let's take a quick overview. It's a layer that lies below the dermis, consists of the adipose cells. It has the blood vessel also, anchors the skin. It and this junction over here is responsible for the mobility of the skin. Now in the next video we will talk about the terms of the skin. Up to now, thank you very much for watching.